Let's move on to this story. The Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa is calling on government to make Ancestors' Day on the 8th of May a public holiday to honor and observe African spirituality. The organization's Secretary-General Zolani Mkiva says the day will be dedicated to reflection, prayer and appeasement of the ancestors. He joins us now to unpack this. Thank you so much for your patience, Mr. Mkiva, as well as your time this evening. Now, I just want to understand why the 8th of May in particular. What is significant about this date?
Well, the significance of the day is the fact that the institution of traditional leadership anointed that day, making it a day of significance. It could have been any other day, but the finger of the God of Africa, the finger of our ancestors in their collective action, they pointed us on this day of May. So it has now become a day of significance, and the rest is history. We have inscribed it as Ancestors' Day. So there is nothing that we must romanticize about how the day was actually chosen. Let's take it as that we are pointed to that date by our own spirituality through the wisdom of our ancestors. As you know, traditional leaders are not just traditional leaders. They are cultural leaders, they are spiritual leaders, they are leaders of society, and they are themselves inspired by those who came before them. That's why they take a role of custodianship in society. Once they say something in collective action, then that becomes the law, that becomes a marching line. So the 8th of May is now Ancestors' Day. It was launched in 2021. This year, it was the second edition. It's something that is going to happen year on year.
Maybe take us what happened today. Where were you as Contralesa? How did you in particular observe the second edition or installment of Ancestors' Day?
This year, my sister, we elected to be at the cradle of humankind, one of the greatest spiritual spaces that we have in South Africa, which in terms of scientific research, we are told that more than 3 million years ago, the first inhabitants of society actually were there. So it's where life began, here in our country, here in our continent. So there could not have been a better place to host this second edition this year, having been to a great place of Hoshi Matuba Matibela Mugwena last year to launch this. So today we chose to be here. And indeed, there were traditional leaders who are part of the leadership of Contralesa from Mpumalanga, as well as from the Northwest. And then you also had the National House of Traditional Leaders, the Deputy Chair of the National House, Khosi Siathulo, was there, as well as Unkosi Ugwaznama Matanzima was there, Nkosi Sphosezwe Mahlangu was there. And we also had the spiritual leaders, diviners, heritage practitioners, young people who are really taking stock of their own background as Africans, were there in great numbers. We had quite a wonderful ceremony, full of music, full of dance, full of divinity, full of prayer, reflection, meditation, everything. And we were basically celebrating and recognizing as well as honoring our ancestors. There is no particular formula. All of these things, they add value towards the same perspective of saying we are spiritual beings and we are made of the bone and the blood of those who came before us. And it is important that we reconnect with them in a manner that is going to empower us to gain wisdom, to gain tenacity, resilience, so that we are able to deal with the challenges of the day and find a way forward. So this day helps us, about restoration, reaffirmation, as well as reclamation as the natives of the land, as Africans in particular, to begin to liberate the African voice so that we can talk to issues that will take us to the destiny of the total emancipation of ourselves as a people. This is about instilling pride to the nation, the spirit of patriotism, taking ownership of what we have as a country, the antiquities, the unique cultural nuances that we have as a people, and draw inspiration from the indigenous knowledge system to basically be proud and to say the best formula, which could be a winning formula for us, is when we go back to what we are, and therefore we are more comfortable and we are at our best to realize our full potential. So this is not just about declaring a day and that's it. No, we can't romanticize it. It's about a positive installment towards the total liberation of our people. It's about the change of the mindset to say, for too long, we are a people that were terrorized and demonized by a system of coloniality and apartheid. But it is time for us to decolonize, to emancipate that voice, to ensure that we place spirituality at the center of the trajectory that this country must go through going forward. It is about ensuring that it is not science alone that can be responsible for the management of the national question, but it is science complemented by spirituality that makes us the best as a country and as a nation.
Mr. Mkiva, can you tell me how far or close we are in terms of the process of declaring the 8th of May as Ancestors' Day? What are the conversations that are taking place with government or the presidency?
I'm sure you are trying to say to declare it as a public holiday. It has already been declared as the Ancestors' Day. That one is done already. It's work done, and it's not work in progress. It's something that has been done already. All what we are trying to do now is to engage government as a key stakeholder. It's a government of the people, and the government belongs to the people. So we believe that a government of the people, when we put across a reasonable request, which is logical and full of reason, the government will listen, and it will be compelled, therefore, by what we are saying to do exactly what we wish to see happening. It's a question of time. Today we signed a pledge as leaders of the sector, but also healers were there, they signed, and everybody signed this pledge. We will be presenting it to the Minister of Arts and Culture, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, before the end of this week. And that particular pledge is part of the first dossiers which we are presenting to government. We are still asking the community out there, the citizens of South Africa, to sign a petition which is also available online to support this day into becoming a public holiday. It's going to be a process. You know, in government there are processes, and we have to appreciate those processes. But the good thing is that we can't wait for the day when this day is actually declared a public holiday. But on year on year, we are going to continue to ensure that we celebrate our ancestors, we honor them, and until such a time that in the near future it is declared a holiday. We want it to be a holiday because we believe that this is the day wherein it will unite us as a people, and it will be a day of reflection, and it is a day that is genuinely talking to us, particularly the natives, the African majority, because the struggle for the liberation of this country was the African struggle, was a struggle for the liberation of the African majority. And we appreciate all other communities that committed and dedicated themselves in supporting us in that struggle. But we must be very firm and put forward our centrality as the owners of this land, that we need to take our rightful place. And it starts off by doing installments like this, wherein the calendar of the country is truly African, and it truly reflects on us as a people in terms of our cultural outlook and other things that are linked to that.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Contralesa's Zolani Mkiva in terms of